Y'all, Wizard101 just had a maintenance. The patch notes are out, and right at the top of the patch notes is something that a lot of people probably care about. Apparently, last night when the game went down, they adjusted loot from all of Aquila so that it drops more spellements in place of jewels and treasure cards. Now, I would say that the relative inaccessibility of the spellements for all of the new spells from this update was like the biggest criticism that people had of the Aquila update when it dropped a few weeks ago. So I decided to do some investigative journalism and test out these enhanced spellement drops. I did multiple runs of Tartarus. The results of this investigation were shocking. If you're standing up, sit down because you were not prepared for this. So I took screenshots of every single fight in this dungeon. Basically, right, the first three accessible fights are Cronus, Death Satyr, and Death Minotaur. They have not seemed to have any significant changes. If I had to guess, I think Cronus drops 1 to 2 spellements, Death Satyr drops 0 to 1 spellements, and Death Minotaur drops 1 to 2 spellements. So screenshots that you just saw were the drops that I got, but I don't think you're always even guaranteed as many as I got. And considering for everyone in a run to get spellements for this, you actually have to level scale. I think that's pretty bad. But I haven't gotten to the shocking bit because honestly, I didn't really expect them to add too many spellements to the first few bosses. People would just spam those instead. But of the 3 remaining bosses in Tartarus, nothing seemed to have changed that much either. So there is a secret boss in Tartarus that you can get for failing the puzzle, Steno. Basically, all you have to do is assemble the urn piece for it incorrectly and you can fight it. But this does not seem to add any more spellements from defeating them compared to before. It's still like 5 to 6 spellements. However, one very important thing that did happen this patch, in case y'all were using this method, but apparently there was a way to respawn Steno by not completing the puzzle and having people leave the room and re-enter. They patched this out of the game, so no, you can't do all of Tartarus up to Steno and just keep respawning her anymore to get 6 spellements over and over again by 1 to 2 turning her. That's no longer a thing, so now you basically have to keep going through Tartarus to get the most spellements out of a Tartarus run, and it doesn't get much better. The one silver lining of my investigation was that Cerberus seems to drop like 4 to 5 spellements instead of like 1, which is actually the most significant increase of drops. But as you can see from the screenshot from doing the very final boss, Hades, there has been no change from doing this. This is like a 3 turn if you have a bunch of level 90s running this. And keep in mind, right, if you're running it with the max, they're not going to get spellements. So it really makes sense for a bunch of 90s to run it. It's like a 3 turn and they have not increased the number of spellements you get dropped. I did about 4 runs of Tartarus, and I got on average about 20 spellements for every single school. So to learn a spell, you have to do probably close to 7 runs total, and honestly, I think that's if you get lucky, because for example, I got like 29 of my balance spellements, and I also only got 11 of the storm spellement. For people that do not want to buy this pack, right, this is like literally the only other source of spellement. If you don't want to buy this, you're expected to run Tartarus, which I would argue takes about maybe 20 to 30 minutes of run, even if you're super optimal. You gotta do it dozens and dozens of times to upgrade it and actually learn the spell for the first time even, and you have to get kind of lucky. Now, as if all of this wasn't crazy enough, there's also another thing that they did with this patch, which involves second chance chests. They added this to the Cabal's revenge raid, but also to every single Aquila boss at the end. Now, this is a part where this is a shocking part to me. I don't know if y'all recall, right? Like a few weeks ago, maybe I put out a video saying the best and most optimal best way to save money and actually farm these Aquila spellements. And the method was really simple, right? You basically do Tartarus standard mode, so you don't have to do all the extra restrictions with challenge mode. And when you get to the end, right, Tartarus has always had a second chance chest. The chest started at 75 crowns, and it goes up a little bit after you do each reroll. And the idea is that every run of Tartarus that you do, you switch your wizards to the chest reset. So, right, for the price of the 400 crowns that you would pay for an Aquila Chronicle pack to maybe get like 3 spellements, you could open up like 3 chests per wizard after 1 Tartarus run and get like 48 spellements, right? Obviously, you don't really get to choose what school you get, but 48 is a lot. This method also seems to be too good to be true because this is of a starting price of a second chance chest in Tartarus. Now, I don't know if this is intended, because there are some visual bugs. There are some, like, you know, other errors that came out with this update. So maybe this is like an incomplete patch. But if the price of the second chance chest is intended, you can hit it once for 600 crowns to get 16 spellements. And the next price of it is over 1,000 crowns. The only other super popular method to farming Aquila spellements, which is Sisyphus challenge mode. I don't know if y'all have been doing that. It's like, it takes 2 to 3 turns and it's very, very easy. You just have to spam a bunch of hits. This also didn't seem to get any updated drop tables. So basically, I don't really know where the drops got added other than Cerberus. That's basically it. That's like 5 spellements, and considering if you were planning on opening a chest that you just don't have that option as easily now, it's really a net negative. I'm gonna tell y'all what I think. I think this is actually, like, the proof is right in front of us. I'm sure y'all have seen this. I think this is a really, really, like, you know, like, this is a pack that's selling really, really well, simply because players have been put in a spot where they cannot be asked to go through all the grind of learning and upgrading a spell in this tedious of a way, right? Unlike bosses where you can farm with gold keys, unlike cantrips chests, unlike even the effort you have to go through to be like a low level farming a level appropriate boss to get main storyline spellments with a high level, compared to all of those methods where you can get any other spellment in the game, Aquila spellments have been extremely hard, right? It's just regular farming with very, very low drop rates, no alternatives other than spending crowns, and even the packs don't drop that many, right? They've created this frankly stupid scenario where things are so hard to get that people are willing to pay like 400 crowns to get 3 spellments in a pack, and now they've made the only other way to save crowns, literally save money while spending money to get spellements, right? The one way to do it was the chest. They also got rid of that. I don't really know what game they're playing, but I would argue that this is probably the single biggest lie I've ever seen in a patch note. I don't understand how you could possibly say that this has increased the drops of these spellements, like maybe by like 10%, but if you multiply 10% by, like, you know, a small number, it's not gonna matter now, does it? I also have another really, really large concern with the idea of them revisiting side dungeons and attaching spellements to them with no cantrips chests, with no gold key bosses involved. But we've never seen them do this with spellements, but that comes with their own, like, valuation system, and this is what they've settled on, like dozens of hours of farming to get not even max tier, maybe tier 2 or tier 3. We're gonna be getting a Darkmoor update in a few months. I can tell you right now, based on the hype alone, that people really are excited about this update, but I'd be very, very surprised if the Darkmoor update, as in the world update, also doesn't involve some kind of old Darkmoor spellment update as well. And I'm gonna assume that Darkmoor, in terms of the way it's gonna drop our old Darkmoor spellments, is gonna be very, very similar to Aquila, right? You'll have to level scale to 100, run up Darkmoor, get abysmal drops, and they're gonna put out a Darkmoor horde pack that gives you 3 spellments at a time, right? If that's what they're gonna be doing, I think we're gonna have a lot of people angry, right? It's one thing to add new spells that people haven't really seen yet other than in jewel format and making the spellments a little hard. If you start messing with older spells that are in need of spellments with drop tables like this, it's just gonna be controversial no matter what. It seems like no matter how they, you know, edit these drop tables, they can't seem to justify giving us enough spellments from running up any of these dungeons. So I think the solution is really, really clear. They already basically have the mechanism to do it. I think the answer is in these badges, basically, right? Like, we have a lot of badges that give badge rewards in Wizard101. Right now, it seems that the most of badge rewards anyways, like, they're tied to gold keys, right? If you do, like, the main storyline and do a lot of side quests, right, you can get a lot of gold keys and rematches. It's not bad. It's not a bad incentive to do extra stuff outside of the main storyline. But in my opinion, if they expect us to revisit old dungeons for such bad drops, I think after you do a lot, you should get some implicit rewards. Like, I don't even know what this badge is. I guess you have to defeat Hades 20 times in Tartarus. Now, if I were to do it, I think I should see a present next to this badge that gives me like 35 spellments. I don't know, something like that, maybe 50 spellments. And if you add enough badges that are, you know, unique and diverse enough, you might actually get a lot of people doing very different parts of Aquila and racking up spellments that way. right? At the end of the day, they want you to spend time doing stuff and spend time playing the game in order to get these spellements, or pay so you don't have to, right? Well, right now, the amount of time you have to do repetitive tasks is too much, so I do think the badge rewards need to be a thing. I didn't really mention this in this video, but let's say that you were to do challenge mode, right? Like run up Tartarus with the red sigil, the challenge mode version. Even if you were to do that, you don't get like insanely increased drops either. This change did not seem to affect challenge mode at all differently. It seems to be like +3 spellements per boss at the end, but for the amount of time that you end up spending in challenge mode with all the no AoE, no enchant, no burst heal restrictions, for all that amount of time, you're way better off just running standard mode. What if they added badges for doing challenge mode a lot, which already exists, but added rewards that drop spellements? That might be a solution that they should consider, especially well ahead of this Darkmoor update, because honestly, I don't think they could repeat what they've done with Aquila without making a lot of people mad. But yeah, y'all, in case you were wondering, if the spellements for Aquila are more accessible, only marginally so, and honestly, most of the ways to spend crowns to speed it up just got worse. There is no steno respawn, there's none of that. You're basically gonna have to do Tartarus over and over again, I guess, and hope that a tier 2 or tier 3 spell is enough. I really hope the devs look at this video. I hope they take at least the badge idea seriously for both standard and challenge mode badges, so we can get more access to spellements for running these dungeons up. And hopefully they do learn their lessons for Darkmoor. Now, y'all, the patch last night wasn't the only thing in the maintenance, like the Aquila spellment part of it. There's actually other things as well. So make sure you subscribe and turn on noties, because over the coming days, I'll cover those too. There's some interesting stuff that they added. Not all of them are as negative as this. This one is a flop, in my opinion. This part of the patch, it's a flop. Let me know what y'all think of the current state of Aquila spellements. Let me know what y'all think of the solutions that I talked about. What other solutions do y'all think there are so that we can actually access some of the spells from updates like these? I look forward to reading all of y'all's thoughts in the comments. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Leave a sub if you're new. And as always, if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. Stay awesome, y'all. See y'all soon. And yeah.